Hi there. My name is Lindsey Casselman, and I am a founder and head of curriculum at Schoolio Learning. And today I'm here to talk to you about a sort of poke fun topic, but hoping to give you some wisdom and advice as well, and just help you feel seen and know that you're not going through this alone. Hopefully a little motivation. So this talk is going to be around those of you who have just started homeschooling and have removed your kids from the traditional school setting. It's never an easy transition. My kids did it as well years ago, and I mentor parents who are new to homeschooling now all the time who have had the same issues that I had making the transition back then. So I thought I'd make this mini workshop about it and see how it goes. So here we go. Fresh out of school, why homeschooling feels extra hard right now. Homeschoolers often hear the phrase, I could never homeschool, I don't have the patience. It's sometimes a little irritating, to be honest. We don't like it generally as a group. But society likes to assign some superhero level patience to us, as it does to moms in general. But if you are feeling exhausted and out of patience, please don't feel like you don't have what it takes to homeschool. Transitioning is really hard and it takes time. Maybe you're a brand new homeschooler full-time, or maybe your child is out of school temporarily due to closures, or even if you're just trying to help your child after school, we would call you an after schooler, with homework, getting caught up after COVID. Any way you're doing it, if you and your child are unaccustomed to learning at home, you may be thinking right now, they're right. I do not have the patience for this, because attempting to teach your own child seems to be an endless struggle. But trust me, you do have what it takes. You do not need to be a superhero. And after mentoring hundreds of new and temporary homeschoolers, I've realized that many of them experience the same difficulties in the first year, especially, and they're mostly behavior issues. Not bad behavior, more like annoying habits. And as a former classroom teacher who turned into a homeschooling parent, I know why this is happening. And so here's the secret, the unpopular answer that a lot of people don't want to hear. The school system made them this way. The most common annoying behaviors reported to me from parents who are new or temporarily teaching their kids at home are all an ingrained part of the educational system. So let's talk about our first behavior, asking permission for everything. Do your kids drive you nuts with this one? In school, children are taught that they have to ask permission for everything. Need a tissue? Need to sharpen your pencil? Use the washroom? Get a drink of water? Ask permission first. I know why they do this in school. It's classroom management. You absolutely cannot manage 30 plus children with only one adult in the room without a lot of control in place. And asking permission to do anything that's different than what the rest of the group is doing is a crucial rule for managing that larger group of kids. It's just a necessity of the system. And your kids are used to an environment where they can't make their own decisions. They have to ask permission first. So this can feel really frustrating to a parent who is trying to have a child do some independent work, or when you just feel like they are asking you the 11,000th question of the day. So the fix is empowerment. Try not to let your frustration show when your child can't make a decision or form an opinion or ask you a lot of questions, because you're just going to make them feel less confident in their abilities. And try not to actually give them the answer or the permission they're asking for either, as that just sort of reaffirms that power dynamic of the classroom. Instead, when they ask, remind them that you trust them to get the things they need, tissue, sharpen a pencil, do the task that they have before them on their own, because you know that they are capable and competent. And just as a side, remember that this is different than needing help with something like a math problem. This is not when there's a lack of understanding on your child's part. For example, they know where and how to retrieve a tissue or use the bathroom. So this is when there is a lack of their understood freedom to act for themselves. And it's an important difference and will lead to a healthier and happier learning environment for both of you. Our next behavior, I'm bored, also known as they can't entertain themselves. So odds are, if your kids have spent time in the school system, they've gotten pretty used to having every moment scheduled for them. Classes are scheduled, breaks are scheduled, recess is scheduled, which subject is delivered when and for how long, and the content of that lesson is all planned out by adults, and your child has zero say in any of it. And if you're anything like us, when our kids were in the system, school takes up so much of your life that your evenings and weekends are pretty planned out too, with all your extracurriculars and sports and errands and family obligations and outings. So our society is very pro hustle culture, and overscheduled kids is becoming more and more problematic. Your kids are just not used to making decisions for themselves or deciding for themselves how to use their own time. This is why you get a lot of I'm boards, and you look around at the dozens of toys and games and books and technology that litter your house and think, how are you not entertained right now? But it's not a matter of not having anything to do. It's a matter of not knowing what to do because they aren't used to that kind of choice. So a fix is self-scheduling, and I would add with guidance in the beginning. So if you think the solution to your kids being bored is to micromanage their time, it's really not. I mean, you certainly can if that brings you joy and you like to create the colorful timetables and recreate a school atmosphere at home, then you do you. It'll definitely get rid of those I'm bored as long as you keep their schedule full. But it won't teach them anything about self-management and being comfortable with themselves. It'll likely burn you out pretty quickly as well. Ask me how I know. Instead, try to encourage them to take ownership of their own time and the tasks that they use to fill that time. So start by guiding them and showing them how rather than doing it for them. We started by sitting down together and brainstorming a giant list of all the things there are to do in our house and our yard to amuse yourself. And we pinned it up somewhere where everyone could see. And then we also have a list of the tasks that the kids are responsible for: chores, schoolwork, walking the dog, stuff like that. No times are assigned to either list, so it's not a micromanaged timetable. They decide what they do and when and in what order. It's totally up to them. And we also have a chat at the beginning of each week about what we're going to do outside the house, what's on the go for sports, field trips, make a plan for any play dates that they want to have. So their social calendar is not lacking. Don't worry about that. But it gives them more ownership of what they're going to do with their day. So then we just forbid the words I'm bored unless they have consulted both lists, completed their responsibilities for the day, and encourage them to figure out their own entertainment. And if after all that they still tell you they're bored, the best trick is just to assign more chores. They'll learn to amuse themselves and disappear pretty quickly, I guarantee. And they'll learn in time to become comfortable in their own company, which is such an important thing to learn for lifelong happiness. Next behavior, we have the rushing or the anxiety caused by free time. And that might sound weird, but it's true. So you will know this if your kids have been in school. When my kids were in school, life was a constant rush. As soon as they got up in the morning, it was rushing. Eat your breakfast, get ready, pack lunches, get everyone out the door on time, rush, 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 got to catch the bus. Our kids are rushed and hustled around all day at school. All the teacher phrases, quickly and quietly through the halls, the bell rang, let's get a move on. I'm going to count to 3, and by the time I'm done, I want everyone in their seats. Get your snowsuit on, get your boots on, let's go, you're going to miss the bus. The peaceful pace of homeschool can be such a culture shock for you and your kids. That you now have the entire day to get about 2-ish hours of schoolwork done. So do you ever get that sort of like anxious, fidgety feeling that there are things that you should be doing or getting done, but you don't know what they are, and you have that feeling that you must be forgetting something important? Kids can have that feeling too, but they're less capable than us as adults of labeling their feelings and anxieties and understanding them. So while you might just wring your hands, they might jump around on the living room furniture while you're trying to have a Zoom meeting with your boss. So the fix here that I recommend is priming. So what is priming? Priming is basically when you prep someone for what will be happening in the future. We do this a lot with kids who have unique needs like ADHD or autism because it helps them to have an idea in their mind of what a new experience will look like and what will happen during that new experience. So you can use priming to help your kids see ahead into the day and conceptualize their free time. One way is to schedule free time blocks. And that may sound weird to just schedule free time, schedule nothingness, but it's literally just a visualization of how much free time they will have during the day. So say, for example, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. today, you're going to the grocery store and the bank. And then at 3:30, a friend is coming over for a play date. So instead of only telling your child, we're going out at 10 and a friend's coming over at 3:30, tell them something like, you will have free time this morning until 9:30, and then we will get dressed and ready to leave the house. So you essentially just scheduled a block time of nothingness, but it helps your child because they're used to having every moment scheduled for them, as we mentioned earlier, and their time filled with the doing of things, and mostly things that are scheduled by adults. So to conceptualize and understand these big blocks of time to do whatever their heart and interest desires and leads them to, it really helps remove that anxious feeling of there's something I should be doing right now, but I don't know what it is. And the last behavior is fitting in and self-directed learning. So fitting in is a survival necessity in school social culture. And I've talked many times before. I could do a whole other talk on how toxic I feel school social culture is and the armor our kids learn to wear day in and day out in order to survive. But that's for another day. So for today, know that when it comes to academics as well, kids learn to assimilate and blend in the traditional school environment. They learn that the right thing to do is to have the right answer when you're called on. No outside of the box ideas, no big brain dumps or long trains of thought that hold up the class. As a teacher, for example, I know that there's always kids in your class with a passionate interest about something that want to tell you a 20-minute story all about it. Maybe it's all about what their dog ate for breakfast, or they go on and on about the new Pokemon cards they just got. And as a teacher, you half listen while you're bustling around the room, trying to get everything done and help other kids, nodding and giving those ahas as often as you can. But eventually you have to interrupt them with a gentle, that's really interesting and I'd love to hear more, but I need to start class now. Or that's a great story, but we need to let someone else have a turn to talk. And that child, unfortunately, has just been shut down and discouraged from sharing their curiosity. And I want to be clear, it's not the teacher's fault. I'm not blaming teachers. It's the school system. A classroom is a busy place and they have so many other things going on and so many other children to attend to. They do need to start class now and other kids do need a turn to talk. But unfortunately, the longer your child has been in the system, the more this natural curiosity, love of learning, speaking, and expressing their thoughts and knowledge has been shut down over time. The older they get, the less they seem to share. Now that your kids are learning at home, if your aspiring veterinarian wants to talk all morning about what the dog ate for breakfast, you can listen. You can Google a YouTube video on dogs. You can talk about carnivores versus herbivores and omnivores. You can look at your dog's teeth and see how they differ from your own. You can make that one curious train of thought into an entire learning experience. And we strive as homeschoolers to never stifle those thoughts when they come pouring out like that, right? Because it's all curiosity and learning, and we love that. But if your kids are fresh out of the school system, your child may not be like this right now. They may need their curiosity reignited. So maybe when you try to make learning fun, what a weird saying that is, that our society has made up, huh? When did learning stop being fun? But maybe you try letting them choose topics of interest, but all you get in response is, I don't know, when you ask them what they would like to learn about. Maybe you had all these great visions for the self-directed learning, but your kid can't pin down anything that they really want to learn about. Maybe you ask questions and all you get for answers is, I don't know. So remember that what they've learned in school up to this point is to give the right answer briefly so class can continue on. And they've also learned that if they don't have the right answer, someone else will. So what's the point in really giving it any lengthy thought and consideration? The answer will be provided by either another classmate or the teacher within 30 seconds. This is why your child is so quick to answer with, I don't know. In school, you don't need to think about the answers to the questions. You either already know the answer and you give it, or you don't. And if you don't, the answer is provided and class moves on. And they've also, of course, been only learning what they're told to. And because that rarely actually interests them, they've also learned to do the bare minimum required to get by. So when you ask something as open-ended as, what would you like to learn about this year? That question may just be so big and new that they actually don't know. So the fix is just to pause. The best thing you can do in this situation is to slow down. If you ask a question and they say they don't know, respond with something like, I'll give you a minute to think about it. Let me know your thoughts when you're ready. And then you can stare awkwardly at each other for 5 straight minutes. They'll eventually roll their eyes at you probably and get to thinking. So set the precedent that we're not getting out of this. There is no one else here in this classroom to provide the right answer. So I guess we better get to thinking and figure it out ourselves. Another strategy is just simple guidance. They've never had a choice in their education before. So choosing what they want to learn about may just be too big an ask for them right now. They might not know what all the options are. So grab yourself some pre-made curriculum or make your own plan on a topic that you think they will like based on their interests. Remember, as their parent, you know them better than anyone else, and you know what they're into. Maybe they love soccer, but it would never occur to them that they could learn about the history of soccer as a social studies topic. So guide them to opening their minds around curiosity-based learning by first making some of those choices for them, or even just offering a handful of suggestions for them to choose from in the beginning and then go from there. Help them reopen their minds and imaginations and rediscover their love of learning. And trust me, in time, their ideas will come back to them. So in conclusion, the bottom line is hang in there. These strategies may help you, but honestly, the biggest fix is just time. There is no quick fix. You've taken the first step by choosing to bring learning home, and you're on the path to success. You and your children are brand new to homeschooling. You both have a lot of unlearning to do and figuring out this whole new lifestyle. Your groove will come. Your rhythm will be found. Be patient, be kind, be forgiving, and take it slow. My best advice is always for your first year, lower your expectations. Now lower them a little bit more. Now you're there. Stay flexible, hang on to your why in these early days of this wild new ride, and before you know it, you'll be a pro. Thank you.